Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is October 20th. The Dodgers are heading back to the World Series, and the Jays and Mariners, they're playing Game 7. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today? Ladies and gentlemen, folks, we're in the end. We're here. We're at the finales, really. Today being Monday, we've got a very important game being played today. And then from that, we'll head to the World Series for essentially 1 week of baseball left of 2025. We have a max of 8 games still to be played. And again, that's a max with a minimum of 5. So we really are in the final stages of the season. And yeah, the World Series is just around the corner, and there's just one team missing from it. So with that all being said, why don't we dive in and actually start talking about the baseball. Let's head to Game 4 of the NLCS between the Dodgers and the Brewers. We are in LA, and this game came down to one man and one man only. Shohei, holy Ohtani, the greatest game by a player in history. Go through every single baseball game and find me a better stat line than what Shohei Ohtani did, not only with his bat, but on the mound as well. He gave up 2 hits through 6 innings while striking out 10. And he hit not 1, not 2, but 3 solo shot home runs in this game. He leads it off in the first. He absolutely crushes a baseball. Then Tommy Edman, an RBI single. Teoscar Hernandez, he grounds out, but that scores a run. Dodgers get 3 runs in the first, a game that the Brewers need to win. Ohtani in the fourth. This one is absolutely destroyed off his bat. Everybody knows it. 469 feet, a towering moonshot. And just for good luck, he hits another one in the 7th inning. Goodbye, baseball. What a performance from Ohtani. But don't worry, Brewers fans. You guys score a run. It's a ground out in the 8th inning. Good job, Bryce Durang. Good job, Brewers. The Dodgers easily win this game. They sweep the series 4-0, and they're heading back to the World Series. This was one of those games that just defines that Ohtani is the greatest player of the game, and the greatest player that, a lot of us, I think, has ever seen. I mean, for me, Mike Trout kind of was the mantle guy in the 2010s. He was number 1. And then Ohtani comes along, and you're in an era where Trout's been getting hurt. He's getting up there in age. People are fighting for this top spot. Is it Mookie Betts? Is it Aaron Judge? Both these guys, elite talents. And then Ohtani wins Rookie of the Year, and then the following year he's the MVP. And then from that, he just continues to show why it is now him, and why it's been him for a while when you think about it. Like the skill gap between Ohtani right now in his prime, really, versus Trout. And yes, the pitching does help, the fact that he's doing this, but even just him offensively, he does it all. He's very good, very capable player. And I mean, even when he's not good, he could have a game like this. You remember, Ohtani in the postseason, including that game that just happened, he's 9 for 41 with a triple, 5 homers, and 9 RBIs, a 9.67 OPS. You take away just this one game that just happened, his postseason numbers so far was 6 for 38 with a triple, 2 homers, and 6 RBIs with a 6.58 OPS. In just one game, he was able to gain over 300 on base plus slugging in just one game by hitting 3 homers. It was very impressive, and even in this series alone, if you want to take away, his whole postseason, he was 2 for 11 in the first 3 games of the series. He had 1 RBI. So, Brewers kind of had his number, And then just one day he wakes up, he's pushing his kids in his stroller, getting to the ballpark, and he's just like, you know what, guys, you guys can sit down. I got it. And just absolutely puts on a show, a game that will be talked about. And it seems like once a year, he's gonna have this kind of game. We saw him have this 3-homer game against Miami, where he, became the first player. I think it was 55 homers, 50 stolen bases. I think it was that game. He had 11 RBIs in that game. It was absolutely insane. It seems like he's going to have one of these games every year. So the later it gets into the year, the more scared you should be for this kind of Ohtani game, because it was absolutely a treat and a joy to watch. Ohtani helps send the Dodgers to the World Series, and because of that performance, he was named the NLCS MVP for the Dodgers as well. So no surprise there by anyone. Despite having really poor numbers in the first 3 games, you have a game like today that cements you as the MVP easily. And Shohei Ohtani will lead the Dodgers to either a trip with the Mariners or a series with the Blue Jays. So which one of those teams we will figure out. But before that, we got to talk about the Milwaukee Brewers. Because, congratulations, you guys beat the Cubs. What happened after that? I mean, this was just disgusting. You guys scored 1 run in each game. You guys scored 1 run in the first game, 1 run in the second game, 1 run in the third game, 1 run in the fourth game. That's all you were not able to score two runs in a game. Jackson Chourio, 2 RBIs. Jake Bauers, 1 RBI. Bryce Terang, 1 RBI. The OPSs, not a single guy outside of Caleb Durbin had an OPS above 700. To even shrink it, above 650, 655. Jackson Chourio had a 655 on-base percentage, on-base plus slugging, OPS. He was 3 for 15 with a double and a homer. Caleb Durbin, I guess your Brewers MVP, if you had to pick one. He had 4 hits, led the team. Was 4 for 13, had 2 doubles and a triple. Everyone else, I couldn't tell you. William Contreras, 2 for 14. Jake Bauers, 2 for 9. Bryce Terang, 1 for 15. Andrew Vaughn, 0 for 12. Yelich, 1 for 14. The on-base percentages, 259. On-base plus slugging, OPS. I keep forgetting to add the plus slugging there. Yelich, 259. Vaughn, 077. Terang, 192. Joey Ortiz, 143. Sal Frelick, 142. William Contreras, 393. Isaac Collins, 143. It goes on and on. Absolutely disappeared for this series. And, you can credit, hey, Dodgers pitchers. Because Dodgers pitchers showed up. I mean, you pick a name out of a hat. The Dodgers are locked in. Glasnow and Ohtani, they didn't even go 7 innings. They didn't go distances. But they pitched phenomenally when they were pitching. Yamamoto, complete game. Snell, 8 innings, 1 hit. The guys were guys for the Dodgers. The starting pitching was absolutely fantastic. But at the end of the day, everyone has good players at this time of the year. That's the whole point. You're in the Final Four. You are the best of the best, the creme de la creme. And you guys got embarrassed. And, I knew the Brewers were going to, from the beginning of the year, I said the Brewers are not that good of a team. I didn't like it on paper, but they were sneaky. They were, they found ways to win ball games, and they won me over. And even in August, I was like, I like the Brewers here, but no matter what happens, the Brewers in their history recently, they're going to find ways to lose in the series, lose the NLDS if they win the division. And that's what I thought. I came into the postseason thinking that whoever won between the Cubs or Padres was going to beat the Brewers in the NLDS, and they proved me wrong. They had a good series against the Cubs. The pitching was solid. The offense was, really strong. And I said, you know what? I think the Brewers could give the Dodgers a run for their money. And what I saw in those 4 games was just absolute bullying. The Brewers never stood a chance. And when you get to this part of the season, I think the Cubs would have been better in this series. I think the Padres would have been better in this series. Any team would have been better than the Brewers in this series, and that's unfortunately what it came down to. So tough one for the Brewers, and the Dodgers are back to the World Series. Let's get on to the AL side of things, because this is where a series is actually happening, unlike the Dodgers-Brewers series. These games have been great, and I've been very enjoying this series. It's been stressing me out a little bit here, but we've got Mariners and Blue Jays. And the road team has won all 4 games. Will that change? We've got a big game 5 to see which team would have the extra chance to clinch in game 6 before needing that inevitable potentially game 7. We've got a rematch of game 1 starters, Bryce Miller versus Gausman. Miller was not as sharp as game 1, but still did enough of a job. He went 4 innings, 4 hits, a run, and 4 strikeouts. So pretty impressive there for Miller, because Blue Jays don't strike out a whole ton. Gausman, on the other end, he was pretty solid too, but maybe not as sharp as he had wanted. 5 2/3, allowing 3 hits, 1 run, and 4 strikeouts. The first run in the game comes in the bottom of the second as Eugenio Suarez beats Gausman, puts Seattle up 1-0, a solo shot from him. But the Jays, they answer in the 5th inning. George Springer, an RBI double. We are tied the very next inning. Ernie Clement has been a problem. He continues to be a problem this postseason. He gets an RBI single. Kirk chugging from second, scores on a base hit from second for the first time of the season. That's when you know that things are getting serious. The Blue Jays have all of the momentum going into the 8th inning. And this is where the blunder happens, as the Jays decide to go for Brandon Little into the 8th to face the top of the Mariners order. Bit of a head-scratcher of a decision. John Schneider stands by it, but it backfires big time. Cal Big Dumper Raleigh hits a game-tying home run. The inning continues. The bases are loaded. There's no out. And Sir Anthony Dominguez serves up a fastball to Eugenio Suarez, who hits it high and deep for the go-ahead grand slam, his second home run of the game, and the staple moment in this series if the Mariners go on to win it. The Mariners, as a franchise, has never gotten this far to being 1 win away from their first time in the World Series ever. They win it 6-2, and they have a 3-2 series lead heading back to Toronto. Manager John Schneider got a lot of hate for this decision, and what I'll speak about it is this: he's gonna most likely win Manager of the Year. He took a Jays team that was 5th in the division last year to winning the division this year, and he's done moves like this all season long. He is a player's manager. He likes to make sure that the 26 guys that he has to see every day in that locker room are happy. They want him to, he wants them to be on their best and to play at their best. And to do that, mentally, they have to be at their best. That's what Schneider does. And he's done a very good job at that, getting pitchers opportunities to pitch in big moments and not just favoriting, 1 or 2 guys like we've seen some teams do. And I kind of like that. There's a level of respect and level of, it's a good idea. Schneider decided to go to Little because Little has been an elite reliever for the Blue Jays all season long. And, this is the 5th game. This was the first time that Little would have faced guys like Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez and Randy Arozarena at the top of the lineup there. So it's a different look. And I can appreciate the idea behind it, but at the end of the day, you're in game 5. You've got Hoffman sitting there waiting to be used. You've got Dominguez, who, gave up the home run to Suarez, but had he had a clean inning, would he have gotten into the trouble in the first place that Little got them into? Little got 2 runners on, got the home run. It was home run, and then I think the 2 runners on before he got pulled. Dominguez comes in, walks batter, grand slam, and from that point on, we're down. And, it's a bad move by Schneider. It's a move that, again, when you go back to his playoff history of taking out pitchers too early, and we've seen it this postseason too with guys like Savage and Gausman still, but we've seen it in the past with Gausman, with Jose Barrios. I mean, just think about the moment right now, and I mean, when we get to it, a game 7, will be costly depending on when he decides to take that first trip to the mound. And basically any trip he decides to take on the mound, whoever comes out of the bullpen, the right levers need to be switched. And I don't know. I really don't know. But it's a padded decision. It cost the Jays potentially a win here. And they need to win back-to-back games to advance to the World Series, which brings us to Game 6 back in Toronto. The Jays lost the first 2 games on the road. Would they lose at home? Would they lose a third? We have a rematch of Game 2. It's Trey Yesavage versus Logan Gilbert exactly 1 week later. Gilbert once again gets into some trouble early. The Jays always have a good read on Logan Gilbert. He goes 4 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs with 3 strikeouts. Meanwhile, Yesavage, he gets a little bit of revenge. He was much better than that first start. 5 2/3, 6 hits, 2 runs, and 7 strikeouts. The splitter was rocking and it was rolling. The Blue Jays start scoring in the second. Addison Barger, a single brings in the run, and then IKF, a little infield single and some trouble at third base. And thanks to some spotty Mariners defense, they made a total of 3 errors in the game, 2 of them being in that inning. The Jays are up to the very next inning. Addison Barger does his thing. Ernie Clement gets a triple with 2 outs, and then Barger sends one high and deep to right center, and that would leave the yard. Barger's bomb makes it 4-0 Toronto. The Jays get to the Mariners to ground out into not 1, not 2, but 3 straight double plays to end the 3rd, 4th, and 5th innings. The Blue Jays defense, incredible. Savage's splitter getting those groundouts. And by the way, in that 3rd and 4th inning, the Mariners had the bases loaded with 1 out. And both times the Jays get the double plays they need to, and they had another one in the 5th inning. So Jays, all the momentum in the world. And how about a postseason leading 6th home run for Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? His 6th home run ties him for the most postseason home runs by a Blue Jays hitter in their franchise's history. And he hit all 6 of those home runs in this single postseason. He is becoming a postseason demon. He goes deep. Jays are rolling. The Canadian Josh Naylor does it once again. He continues to be a problem for the Jays this series. He hits an absolute moonshot off of Savage to get the Mariners on the board. Later in the inning, Suarez, a bloop single with 2 outs and a full count. Randy was running on the pitch from first. He would score all the way from that on the bloop single. It's 5-2 Blue Jays. The Jays add 1 more on a wild pitch from Matt Brash. Cal Raleigh blocks it, gets away a little bit. He ends up heaving it to third base as Vladdy was trying to advance, but the ball goes into left field. Vladdy comes in to score easily. Jays lead it 6-2. Hoffman comes in, gets 6 outs with 4 strikeouts. He was electric. And a series featuring 2 hungry franchises was not going to end on any game less than 7. The Blue Jays once again tie up this series 3-3, and it comes down to 1 game and 1 game only. The 2 best words in baseball, Game 7. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a Game 7. One thing I did forget to mention in the Game 5 recap, George Springer was hit by a pitch on the kneecap. He had to leave the game there. He was questionable for this game in Game 6. He did play, did lead off, was DH as usual. Everything seemed right. But you could just see in his at-bats, he was a little uncomfortable. He had like a heating pad or something that he was putting on when he was in the dugout. And he was 0 for 4 in the game, so not really much of a factor. Did walk. So, he is going to have some strong at-bats, still be, a problem, but it does seem that knee is discomforting him a little bit. We'll see how that affects him in what is a very important Game 7. And that's where we're at with the series so far. So let's get into this Game 7. Let's talk about exactly what we're going to see and, figure out who's got the edge going into this game here. One thing I will say is that, this series has been fantastic. And to get a Game 7 in baseball is very special because unlike, basketball and hockey, because you can get do or die games, game 3 in the wild card. You can get a do or die game 5 in the division series, but to get a game 7 in baseball, that's either the 2 league championship series or the World Series. You only get 3 game 7s, a max of 3 game 7s every year. So to get one is very exciting, very stressful if your team is part of it. If you're a fan of the Toronto Blue Jays, if you're a fan of the Seattle Mariners, this is a nerve-wracking day. You're going to spend every minute waiting for this game to happen, and it is going to be a very intense ball game. So, now that I've said that piece and have got my 2 cents into there, let's get into Game 7 really quickly here. We got George Kirby going on the mound for the Mariners and Shane Bieber going on the mound for the Blue Jays. This is a rematch of Game 3 that happened, and that kind of got the Blue Jays their first win on the board. Bieber, this postseason has been, a little shaky. Yankees, 2 2/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 2 Ks. In Game 3 against the Mariners, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, a home run was given up. He did walk a batter, struck out 8, and did get the win. So in the postseason as a whole, he's 1-0, 8 2/3, 9 hits, 4 runs, giving up 1 home run, 2 walks, and 10 strikeouts. So those are some okay numbers to enter into a Game 7 with. George Kirby, on the other hand, has been a little bit more of a struggle piece. The Tigers, he pitched 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, a home run was given up, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. He then had to face the Tigers again, going 5 innings, 3 hits, so 3 less hits, a run instead of 2 runs, didn't give up the home run, and then 6 Ks. So, everything was less a little bit, which is a good thing except for the strikeouts. Then in Game 3 against the Blue Jays, he got 4 innings, 8 hits, 8 runs, 3 homers, 2 walks, and 4 Ks. He got the loss in this game, obviously. So on the postseason as a whole, in 3 games, he's 0-1, 14 innings, 17 hits, 11 earned runs, 4 homers, 3 walks, and 18 Ks. Nowhere near as good as Bieber's numbers there. And again, giving up 8 runs to the Blue Jays in Game 3, that's going to be on the back of everyone's mind just slightly. It means nothing. When you come down to Game 7, all the numbers you've seen means nothing. It matters what happens in the game. So, the players that are having these amazing postseasons for them and amazing championship series, the players who have done nothing all series long, all of that gets erased. You care about one game and one game only. The impact you have on Game 7 is what matters. So Kirby, 8 runs in 4 innings, not good. If he goes 6 innings with 1 run, that's fantastic. He's a star. Does not matter what he did in the previous games. You use what you have to get to Game 7. What matters is what you do today, but it will be a lingering thought process for both Blue Jays and Mariners. When you take a look at some of the guys who have been mashing in this series, for the Mariners, you got Josh Naylor, who's been kind of the leader, 9 for 21, 3 homers, 4 RBIs. He's got a 1.335 OPS. Cal Raleigh, 5 for 22, 3 homers, 3 RBIs, all solo shots, a 1.002 OPS. Eugenio Suarez, 7 for 22, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, a 1.036 OPS. Julio Rodriguez, 4 for 20, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, and 860 OPS. Those 4 have been the guys, and those are essentially your, 1, 2, 5, 4, 5 hitters, 5, 6 hitters. That's kind of where they've been at. On the Blue Jays side, one man has been a real terror show, being Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's 9 for 22, has 3 doubles, has 3 homers, 3 RBI, so all of his homers, similar to Cal's, have been solo shots, a 1.474 OPS. Ernie Clement keeps hitting the ball, 8 for 24, 2 doubles, a triple, 2 RBIs, and 8.6 OPS, 860. George Springer, 7 for 26, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, a 960 OPS. Andres Jimenez, 5 for 22, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, a 761 OPS. I mean, you've got guys who've been guys, and then you have the bottom of the lineup, the guys who haven't done much. And there's a difference between this list of 5 guys here. Dalton Varsho, 3 for 24 with a 327 OPS. J.P. Crawford, 2 for 18, 338 OPS for him. Dominic Canzone, 2 for 21, a .190 OPS. Leo Rivas, 1 for 10, 408 OPS. Victor Robles, 1 for 12, 237 OPS. The difference there is that I listed 4 Mariners players and 1 Blue Jays player. And that's because the Mariners, they've been hitting home runs. They've had the top of the lineup be super successful. When I listed those guys who've been problems, 3 of them had a 1. OPS. You know, the Blue Jays, only 1 guy has a 1. OPS. That's Vladdy. But everyone else is above 700. Guys like Barger, besides Varsho. Barger, Ernie, Jimenez has been really good in this series. Nathan Lucas has been very good in this series. Like, they've all been very good. Nothing elite like Vladdy and nothing powerful like the Mariners have done. But, really strong stuff. You go through all of the guys of the starting 9 that the Jays have thrown out most games. There's 7 players have 5 or more hits. The Mariners, 4 of their starting 9 usually have over 5 hits in the series. So, 3 batters, that makes a difference because the Blue Jays, we know how they play ball. They got to put the ball in play. They're going to foul off a bunch of pitches. They're not going to strike out. They're going to get the extra base. They're going to score runs that way. Meanwhile, the Mariners, they're going to take their walks, they're going to get runners on, and they're going to have one guy who hits the big moment home run. This game, Game 6, would have been so different if in those moments, Cal Raleigh came up to the plate with that bases loaded in the 3rd inning. He grounds into the double play. If he hits a grand slam, this game is different. In the 4th inning, I forget who it was, but they hit into a ground, like off the top of my head, I do not remember. But, they had 3 bases loaded opportunities. That's 9 runners left on base. If you switch the Blue Jays and the Mariners in those situations, at least one of those innings, the Jays are scoring 2 runs. At least they're getting a base hit, 2 runs will score. If not, all 3 of those innings, because that's the different brand of baseball. Mariners went for the big swing, ended up getting on top of a splitter, grounds into the double plays. That's the difference in between these 2 series here. And again, when you look at the runs scored as a whole, the Blue Jays have scored 33 runs in the 6 games they've played, 15 of which have come from home runs. So solo shots, 2-run shots, etc., whatever. 15 of which means 18 runs have come by putting the ball in play, scoring runs by a single, by a double, by a wild pitch, whatever it's been, taking those extra bases. The Mariners, on the other hand, in the 6 games, they've scored 27 runs, 21 of them have come from the home runs. The big 3-run Julio shot, the big Eugenio Suarez grand slam, the big 3-run Polanco home run. They've been putting the ball in play a little bit and then getting a guy to come mash the ball. They've only had 6 runs score that are from singles or wild pitch, whatever it's been. So that's a big difference in these 2 games. If Bieber and the Jays pitching staff can keep the ball in the park, the Blue Jays have complete control of Game 7. When you look at it right now, before we even talk about pitching, Jays have home field advantage. They have, better offense that's been more consistent. And George Kirby, when they last faced them, gave up 8 earned runs. Like, those are 3 factors that favor the Blue Jays heavily. Does that mean they're going to win? No. But does that mean I like their chances to win? Yeah, kind of. But, that's baseball. Anything can happen. Taking a look at the bullpens really quickly. Guys that you might see, because it is a do-or-die game. All hands are on deck. The Blue Jays will have Chris Bassett. They'll have Mason Fluharty. Louis Varland pitched an inning in 2/3 yesterday for Game 6. He'll be around. So Anthony Dominguez will be around. Jeff Hoffman will be around. Those are the guys. The Mariners, you'll see Hancock. You'll see Brian Wu probably. You'll see Gabe Spire. You'll see Matt Brash. You'll see Andres Munoz. You'll see Bazardo. Those are the guys for the Mariners. When you take a look at what some of these pitchers have done all season long, or all series long, Munoz has pitched 2 innings, hasn't given up a hit. Berzardo has pitched 5 innings, has given up 3 hits, a run, 4 strikeouts. Brash, 4 1/3, 2 hits, a run, 3 Ks. Hancock, 4 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, 3 Ks. Brian Wu, 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 run. Gabe Spire, 3 1/3, 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 Ks. So a couple of those guys have got for a run or 2 here and there. Munoz has been dominant. You'll see him pitch for sure. On the Blue Jay side, Louis Varland, 5 2/3, 3 hits, a run, 8 Ks. Hoffman, 4 innings, 1 hit, 7 Ks. Fluharty, 2 1/3, 4 hits, 1 run, 3 Ks. Bassett, 1 2/3, didn't give up a hit, 2 strikeouts. Dominguez, 2 1/3, 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 Ks. Fisher, 2 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 3 Ks. So, Dominguez, Rodriguez kind of gotten beat up a little bit as well in this series. They've given up 3 or more runs. But Fluharty, been solid. Hoffman, been fantastic. Varland, Bassett, you'll see maybe if Bieber doesn't have it early, Bassett will be a guy that comes in, tries to get 2-3 innings out and continue to pass the ball over. That's a very likely play for the Blue Jays, similar to maybe Brian Wu. Hey, how about Luis Castillo? You might see him come out of the Mariners bullpen because, again, all hands are on deck. This is a big game for both teams. It's the first Game 7 in Mariners history. It's the second Game 7 in Jays history. They did it in 1985 in the ALCS. The Blue Jays would also be the first team since the 1996 New York Yankees to win a 7-game series after losing the first 2 games at home. We have to remember how this series went on to play here. When you look at the bullpen, Dominguez pitched on Thursday, pitched on Friday, did not pitch on Sunday. There's elements to the pitching staff and, who's been pitching, etc. Hoffman pitched on Thursday. He pitched yesterday. He pitched 35 yesterday, but he's going to be available. Louis Varland pitched 22 pitches. He'll be available. Mason Fluharty hasn't pitched since Thursday. He should be good to go. Yair Rodriguez hasn't pitched since Wednesday, so he should be good to go. Lauer and Bassett, they're ready, rock and roll. You take a look at Seattle. Their guys, they're waiting. This is the moment that you wait, that you're ready for as a big leaguer. Brian Wu pitched on Friday. Emerson Hancock hasn't pitched since Thursday. Luke Jackson hasn't pitched since Wednesday. Is he available? Caleb Ferguson, do you need these guys is what I meant to say. Edward Bizardo pitched on Thursday, then pitches on the Sunday. Andres Munoz pitched on Friday, did not pitch yesterday. Gabe Spire didn't pitch yesterday, but he got the win on Friday. So, to me, the bullpen are both ready to go. I think the Blue Jays got a little bit more worked over yesterday because Hoffman had to throw 35 and Varland had to throw 22. But yeah, this is a big do or die for the Mariners. It's a first trip ever to the World Series. They've never gotten this far to being 1 win away. For the Blue Jays, it's their first trip since 1993 if they get it. So, both teams want it. They both want it bad. And it's going to come down to, this game and this moment. Game 7, a big game. This has been a fantastic series. Whoever wins, whoever loses. But there can only be one winner. And the Dodgers will wait for Friday to see who they will face. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up this episode here. The Dodgers sweep the Brewers. Blue Jays, Mariners, the big Game 7 tonight. Shane Bieber, George Kirby, 1 game, 9 innings, unless there's extras, to decide who will go on to face the Dodgers and whose season ends today. It's going to be good. Get your popcorn and get your stress balls and whatever else you need because this one is going to raise the heart rate. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you all. I appreciate you all. Thank you, everybody, so much. And I will see you on Friday.